All right, thank you. Let's begin this hour with what your next guest hopes is a very sweet return to Wall Street. The once bankrupt Hostess Brands, maker of Twinkies, Ho-Hos, Snowballs, and others, just announced plans to begin trading as a new public company under the NASDAQ ticker TWNK. And in a PowerLunch exclusive, here's the man responsible for turning around the 86-year-old company, Dean Metropoulos. Dean, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
How is the Hostess, because Hostess failed initially.
Correct.
How is the Hostess today different than the Hostess that failed?
It's an entirely different model and a different company. It certainly failed because the balance sheet had been way overburdened with many liabilities. The model of execution to the individual stores up and down the street, extremely burdensome. The lack of systems that enabled it to track performance, all of those have been changed, consolidated a lot of the manufacturing, invested significantly behind the product quality as well as the efficiencies, and it's a very different company.
When you looked at buying it, was there one thing you saw that you said, oh, okay, if I fix that, I can fix the company?
Yes, our company, including my sons Evan and Darren, have purchased many wonderful historical brands over the past 30 years. In fact, some 83 businesses. And this brand seemed so unusual. It had a tremendous nostalgic connection with consumers. And we knew that if it was cleaned up and managed properly in a different model, it would be very successful.
There was an article in the Journal today, and for those who haven't read it, it made a very big point about the fact that Twinkies, you know, the urban legend is that Twinkies, when put in a landfill, will live forever. But contrary to that, you had to double the shelf life in order to improve the profitability of the company. Explain what it was before, what it is now, and why that was so meaningful when it comes to distribution, et cetera.
Correct. Well, number one, the earlier life was 28 days, and that was being delivered up and down the street to every single individual store across the country. Today's shelf life is about 65 days, and that's all been done with moisture and natural enzymes and so on. And that 65-day shelf life enabled us, instead of having up and down the street deliveries, to go directly to the warehouse of the Walmarts, the Krogers, and great partners like that across the country. That made it much more efficient, much more streamlined, and that was a very, very important reason for the positive turnaround of the company.
You've done lots of turnarounds. You turned around Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, which was, a historic brand, but didn't have a hugely great reputation. You made it hip. When you look at, and we're looking at some of your investment portfolios right now that are in there, when you look at a brand that has fallen on hard times, is there a common theme or thread that you have to fix?
Well, I think there's several things. Number one, you have to focus on make sure that they're efficient, the operations, so that you have the cash flow to invest in innovation. Secondly, it is in fact innovation, and you have to innovate products that are more relevant to today's consumer, today's millennials. And then you've got to market them very differently. Again, my sons have been great marketers because they really know how to guerrilla market to the millennials. That's what they did with Pabst Blue Ribbon. And my job is to make sure the companies are operating very effectively, very efficiently, that we acquire them and structure them right. But you got to innovate significantly, and you got to really reposition these brands with new consumers.
You can only innovate so much, in that these are nostalgia brands.
Yes.
And so you can't change the Twinkie and say it's going to be a smaller round ball.
Correct.
To attract a new audience. So what did you do to the Twinkie, and how did you market it differently but still keep it relevant to the people who fell in love with Twinkie when they were kids?
Well, the nice thing about the Twinkie and many of the Hostess products, they had never really fallen out of favor with their favorite consumers.
So even despite health trends and anti-bread, anti-carb, blah, 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 they still were being eaten?
Absolutely. In fact, your previous guest said to me, have you ever seen anyone bite into Twinkie crying? You always smile when you indulge in a Twinkie. It's an indulgent category.
That's a sad sight.
That would be like,
hey, go cry over your Twinkie, man. Go cry over your Twinkie. Do you worry about a war on sugar, Dean? We're seeing this rolling around sugar, sodas.
Yes.
Yeah.
What if big government
Absolutely
comes right at you?
Listen, I think we have, every 2 months we have a meeting with outside our labs that we consistently review the trends, and we consistently review how do we continue to move forward with the trends of wellness. We need to be at the cutting edge of whatever technology and science brings to eliminate sugar, whether it's stevia introduction or those type of products. As of today, we've taken out, for example, a lot of trans fats out of the label, a lot of the products, and sugar is still an important ingredient. And I think as science evolves, and I think alternatives to sugar. But as of today, almost every sweet good relies on the sugar product to make it what it is.
Can I have one of those snowballs, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, watch it. These chairs are shaking.
These were really. I grew up on eating this stuff. My mom used to pack these and these cupcakes in my lunch practically every day.
I want to see Melissa for her birthday have one.
Yes. Well,
Thanks, Dean.
Can I ask you, so when this goes public, when Twinkie is now buyable by investors on Monday, part of this reverse SPAC thing, we all know what it was, but I don't know what it is, but I don't want to
SPAC,
do many
Special Purpose
details.
Acquisition Company.
Too many details for the average viewer. Why did you choose that format, though, rather than doing a traditional IPO?
Yes. Well, for two reasons. I think it was the SPAC is a special purpose entity. It's an acquisition vehicle with the Gores Group we did. I've known Alec Gores for quite a few years. And it's a much more efficient way to get to the market. And that's what we found very appealing about it. The economics were very, very appealing to us, the way we structured it over the future years. My sons and I will be the largest shareholders going forward, and we like that very much. In fact, they turned around and invested another $50 million into the new public company. So we continue to believe in its future.
One of those.
A Hostess cupcake? Those are delicious.
Are these smaller than they used to be?
No.
No, you were
same
just
size.
bigger.
I'm bigger. I'm just bigger.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
yeah, I could finish that.
What's your next thing?
Yeah.
Well, as you know, Evan and Darren and I invested in Utz and
Oh, the chips?
the chips
From Mad Men.
and Golden Flake, which is a sister company down in Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia. Utz is out of Pennsylvania, but they have a great heritage, great family. Dylan
Is there any food
the
product
CEO.
you think is in a bubble right now?
Look, food products have to be constantly challenging themselves and becoming continually relevant. And I'm not aware, nothing comes to my mind as being a bubble as
Like, is
such.
gluten-free a bubble?
I think there's going to be a place for it. I remember my first company in the food business 30 years ago. Light cheese was going to be eliminate all cheese. Light.
Oh, God, remember that was awful.
Yeah.
What's the
You
point?
have to manufacture in the United States, don't you, right?
We like manufacturing in the United States. We've had wonderful business outside of the U.S.
But
But
the shelf life is 65 days. It's
Yeah.
got to get the fat.
Right, that's my point. That's my point. You have to manufacture in the U.S., right?
We do ship internationally, but we ship it frozen, and then they thaw it and give the shelf life.
Interesting.
That's what chases
There
down
you
with
go.
Pabst.
That's
Chase it
great.
with a Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I'll tell you, the next interview, I'm going to bring a PBR.
Great. Yeah. Bring 24 of them, man. I mean,
I'll
just
do it.
one.
I'll do it.
It's great having you in
Dean
studio.
Metropoulos,
Thank
a
you.
real pleasure.
Thank you
Good luck
very
with the IPO. Good luck with Hostess Brands.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dom Chu, you got a news alert, right?